Today is January 3rd, 2026. Welcome to Big Book Daily. My name is Rob. I am an alcoholic. It is a thrill, honor, and joy to be here with you today as we journey through the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous and the 12 Steps and 12 Traditions. Today on the Big Book, we are going to continue our journey through the Doctor's Opinion. We'll be reading Roman numeral 27. And then in the 12 and 12, we will be, I think, on the second page of the foreword, page 16. And we will, of course, read the 24 hours a day and daily reflection. So I hope you all are doing well this morning, my friends. It's a beautiful Saturday morning. I've got my Star Wars cup loaded up with black coffee. I need the Force this morning. But so happy to just be here and, just have another opportunity to work these steps one day at a time, 1 hour at a time. So with that, let's go ahead and get to the good stuff. Okay, if you recall from yesterday's reading, we talked a little bit about the possible allergy, this physical allergy that is kind of hinted around to by Bill W. here. And now we're getting a continuation of Dr. Silkworth's letter. So we're going to begin that again on Roman numeral 27. The doctor writes, "The subject presented in this book seems to me to be of paramount importance to those afflicted with alcoholic addiction. I say this after many years' experience as medical director of one of the oldest hospitals in the country treating alcoholic and drug addiction. There was, therefore, a sense of real satisfaction when I was asked to contribute a few words on a subject which is covered in such masterly detail in these pages. We doctors have realized for a long time that some form of moral psychology was of urgent importance to alcoholics, but its application presented difficulties beyond our conception. What with our ultra-modern standards, our scientific approach to everything, we are perhaps not well equipped to apply the powers of good that lie outside our synthetic knowledge. Many years ago, one of the leading contributors to this book came under our care in this hospital, and while here, he acquired some ideas which he put into practical application at once. Later, he requested the privilege of being allowed to tell his story to other patients here, and with some misgiving, we consented. The cases we have followed through have been most interesting. In fact, many of them are amazing. The unselfishness of these men as we have come to know them, the entire absence of profit motive, and their community spirit is indeed inspiring to one who has labored long and wearily in this alcoholic field. They believe in themselves, and still more in the power which pulls chronic alcoholics back from the gates of death. Of course, an alcoholic ought to be freed from his physical craving for literature, and this often requires a definite hospital procedure before psychological measures can be of maximum benefit. The 12 and 12 were on the foreword, page 16. There is, too, a rising interest in the 12 traditions of Alcoholics Anonymous. Students of human relations are beginning to wonder how and why AA functions as a society. Why is it, they ask, that in AA no member can be set in personal authority over another? That nothing like a central government can anywhere be seen? How can a set of traditional principles, having no legal force at all, hold the fellowship of Alcoholics Anonymous in unity and effectiveness? The second section of this volume, though designed for AA's membership, will give such inquirers an inside view of AA never before possible. Alcoholics Anonymous began in 1935 at Akron, Ohio, as the outcome of a meeting between a well-known surgeon and a New York broker. Both were severe cases of alcoholism and were destined to become co-founders of the AA Fellowship. The basic principle of AA, as they are known today, were borrowed mainly from the fields of religion and medicine, though some ideas upon which success finally depended were the result of noting the behavior and needs of the fellowship itself. After 3 years of trial and error in selecting the most workable tenets upon which the society could be based, And after a large amount of failure in getting alcoholics to recover, 3 successful groups emerged. The first at Akron, the second at New York, and the third at Cleveland. Even then, it was hard to find 20 of sure recoveries in all 3 groups. "24 hours a day, January 3rd. AA thought for the day. When I came into AA, I learned what an alcoholic was, and then I applied this knowledge to myself to see if I was an alcoholic. When I was convinced that I was an alcoholic, I admitted it openly. Since then, have I been learning to live accordingly? Have I read the book Alcoholics Anonymous? Have I applied the knowledge gained to myself? Have I admitted openly that I am an alcoholic? Am I ready to admit it at any time when I can be of help?" Meditation for the day. I will be renewed. I will be remade. In this, I need God's help. His Spirit shall flow through me, and in flowing through me, it shall sweep away all the bitter past. I will take heart. The way will open for me. Each day will unfold something good, as long as I am trying to live in the way that God wants me to live. Prayer for the day. I pray that I may be taught, just as a child would be taught. I pray for the strength to not question God's plans, but to accept them gladly. Daily Reflection, January 3rd. Powerless. We admitted we were powerless over alcohol, that our lives had become unmanageable. 12 Steps and 12 Traditions, page 21. It is no coincidence that the very first step mentions powerlessness. An admission of personal powerlessness over alcohol is a cornerstone of the foundation of recovery. I've learned that I do not have the power and the control I once thought I had. I am powerless over what people think about me. I am powerless over having just missed the bus. I am powerless over how other people work or don't work the steps. I've also learned that I am not powerless over some things. I am not powerless over my attitude. I am not powerless over negativity. I am not powerless over assuming responsibility for my own recovery. I have the power to exert a positive influence on myself, my loved ones, and the world in which I live. Okay, that concludes today's reading, and I'll try to keep this short and sweet, but I love that last reading, talking about powerlessness first. I remember, I don't know if I've ever told this, but when I was in my, I should have known I was an alcoholic from the first get-go, right? Because the first time I drank, I puked and almost blacked out. And it's on camera. Good Lord, I hope that never gets out. But then, all throughout my 20s, I was kind of teetering the line. There were some days I could just have a few drinks and be fine. And then there were other days where I just took it too far. And I remember in my mid-20s, when I joined this church, one of the tenets of the church was to become a member was to abstain from alcohol. Well, I wanted to teach Sunday school, and I thought, I want to do this right. I want to be honest about this. And during that time, I was able to quit for about a year. Long story short, I kept that in my back pocket for years. Well, if I really want to quit, I can quit. I know I do. I guess I just don't want to. Well, then came the time in my 30s where I wanted to, and I couldn't. Where, I would say I would be determined to quit, after a hangover the next day, or I've blacked out miles away from my home. And all of a sudden I look at my phone when I finally come to in a Walmart parking lot, and I've got 12 missed calls from my wife. That's powerlessness. Oh, and then the next day, I'm rationalizing already. This is the obsession of the mind. See, I didn't know any of this stuff then. But the obsession of the mind, eventually I rationalized my way into another drink. It wasn't for me until I admitted I was powerless and that I was absolutely licked from all the problems that I had caused while drinking and all the selfishness that I realized I can't do this. I had tried every known method, man. I tried I'll just drink on the weekends, or I'll just drink beer, or I'll just drink all the little limits that, of course, the big book talks about. I tried those things. And it just was a problem that I could not get rid of. So for me, I had to admit that my life was I was powerless over alcohol, and eventually had to join a fellowship that kind of educated me on all this. And I realized right away that I'm not alone. And there's no shame in admitting that. I was brought up to believe that, surrender's just a horrible word. But in this case, for me, it was surrender of something I just could not control anymore. And speaking of other things I can't control, other people's feelings about me, other people's lives. I've worked with other alcoholics over the past, and they went back out, and I can't control that. I used to blame myself, but I couldn't control that, as heartbreaking as it is. All I could do is pray for them and be there for them when they're ready to come back. But there are things I can control. My attitude. The way I choose to treat other people. Working the program and the steps for myself every single day. I'll tell you, the serenity prayer, God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. The serenity prayer, just repeating that kind of little mantra for me, has helped me so much over time. Because I realize there's a lot of things I can't control, but there are a few things I can, and they relate to me. And I let go of the rest. But anyway, guys, that's enough of my rambling for one day. I hope you all have a great day today. Please know I don't speak on behalf of AA, NA, Al-Anon, any other sect or denomination. I am just a friend in this lifeboat of recovery, honored to be here. And if you are sober today, my friend, you're a miracle. And if you are not, I hope that you know that you're worthy of recovery. So I encourage you to get the help you need today. But my friends, if we are given another set of 24 hours, I sincerely look forward to seeing you right back here tomorrow.